Huang Yang sat at his desk writing like a tragic poet possessed. My dearest beloved, my heart overflows like spring waters. Next letter. My cherished delight, I long to meet you by the Luo River. Next letter. My darling muse, I have tied your portrait shut so I may resist temptation. 3 letters. 3 women. Signed. Sealed. His wife entered, gentle smile, fragrant as lotus sachets. Writing to the 3 sisters again? He sighed dramatically. They refused to come. I can only prove my sincerity. The steward rushed in. Master, someone is here. They sent a card. Huang Yang opened it. 1 word. I. He closed it calmly. A true hero. Invite them in. The door opened, the emperor, and Shu Yanmiao. Huang Yang's soul left his body but returned immediately with excellent manners. Shu Yanmiao blinked. Oh. This is the harmonious marriage the old emperor bragged about? Ah. So that's why they're here. To show off domestic bliss. Easy. Fruits and delicacies flooded the table. Grapes, waxberries, venison, pastries. Shu bit into a grape. Eyes widened. So good. Huang Yang stroked his beard. My wife peeled and soaked them in honey. Haha, she eats half a bowl herself every day and gives you the leftovers. Silence. The emperor slowly chewed. Huang Yang blinked. Wait, what? Shu continued mentally. She grows fruit for you? No fish pond, though. You love fish. Interesting. Huang Yang froze. 3 dishes she likes. 1 dish you like, placed in front of you. Soup in the middle so you don't compete. The emperor looked at the table. It was true. Huang Yang's rabbit jerky suddenly tasted like betrayal. Fine. Switch tactics. Marriage pitch. Shu Lang, I have a beautiful daughter. No. A handsome young man. No. Are you afraid of being controlled by a wife? Huang Yang proudly described his perfect spouse who supports his 3 confidants and even offers dowry money for their gifts. Shu went quiet. Then, impossible, no jealousy, no resentment. He dove into the system. Huang Yang's heart began to pound. Please let the 3 women be real, please. Shu's eyes lit up. Huang Yang stopped breathing. The wife is Zhenjin, is Ai, is Lian. She plays all 3, gets gifts 4 times a year. The chair crashed. Huang Yang dropped to his knees and slid across the floor dramatically. Your Majesty, I never intended to rebel with the Prince of Jibei. The emperor blinked. Rebel? Shu perked up instantly. Wait, what? Huang Yang clung to imperial leg like it was a lifeline. It's about my correspondence. Surely, that's why you came. Shu flipped through his system. Oh, that letter? Just a ceremonial congratulations years ago. Harmless. Huang Yang wept louder. Bless you, Shu Yanmiao. The emperor, however, was now listening carefully, because Shu had continued. Actually, the vice commissioner in Guizhou is colluding, and the Marquis of Yingcheng and a military secretary. The emperor's smile vanished. Continue. The Prince of Jibei's heir is in the capital too, spends half his gold manipulating brothel flower rankings. They summoned the courtesan. She entered, cold, sharp-featured, not the usual beauty. Shu checked. Oh, he likes Western features. Spent 1,000 taels elevating her to courtesan. The emperor nearly laughed out loud. The courtesan spoke eagerly. I will tell you everything. Of course she will. She saved for 10 years to buy her freedom. Then he promoted her and doubled her price. Her jaw tightened. I want him ruined. The emperor smiled thoughtfully. South Wind Pavilion? Her eyes gleamed. Deal. She revealed the ledger, gift records, gold movements, names. Marquis of Yingcheng, especially generous. Makes sense. Over 100 concubines to maintain. The emperor nearly died holding in laughter. Later, outside, Shu panicked. How am I supposed to gather evidence? The emperor ignored him. Instead, he bargained over toys at a street stall like a retired uncle. 8 when? 15. 10. I have many grandsons. They settled at 11. The emperor grinned. It's not about dignity. It's about winning. Next day, morning court. Shu stood boldly. I impeach the Marquis of Yingcheng. The Marquis smirked. This should be easy. Shu continued. He violates ritual law. The Book of Rites states a concubine under 50 must spend 5 nights with her husband. The Marquis has too many concubines to fulfill this duty. The court froze. The Confucian's eyes sparkled. The Marquis's smile died slowly, because no one could plausibly rotate over 100 concubines every 5 days, not even with divine intervention. Silence. The emperor leaned back. Sometimes, you don't need swords. You just need Shu Yanmiao. Lord Yingcheng stood in court thinking, who on earth had their brain kicked by a donkey to dare corrupt little Baizé? Because clearly someone had. His eyes darted across the officials. Was it the deputy commander? No. Surely he wouldn't hold a grudge just because his son punched the man's adopted son over the last jar of Drunken Heaven's wine? Or the censor from revenue? That one loved bureaucratic warfare like it was a sport. Oppose a policy today, defend it tomorrow, just to win an argument. Or the minister of personnel? Lord Yingcheng suddenly realized with cold clarity, he had too many enemies. On the dragon throne, the old emperor was fighting for his life. He had expected Shu Yanmiao to list crimes, corruption, abuse of power, something normal. Instead, ritual violations, concubine scheduling. The emperor nearly slid off the throne laughing, because unless Lord Yingcheng dismissed all his concubines, he would now have to make up for every neglected night, 20 concubines a day, plus back pay, silently, respectfully. The emperor cleared his throat, pretending dignity. Down below, Shu Yanmiao beamed internally. Yes, the emperor hinted me into this genius move. The entire court inhaled sharply. The emperor froze. When did I hint anything? But Lord Yingcheng had already connected the dots. Of course, only the emperor could dare use little Baizé like this. When the crafty hare dies, the hunting dog is cooked, he declared bitterly. Your Majesty, I admit my guilt. The emperor blinked. That was not what he meant. Still, confined to your residence. Lord Yingcheng's eyes sparkled. House arrest? That's it? The emperor stroked his beard. See? Benevolent. Then Shu's thoughts drifted again. So generous. Guess the old emperor doesn't know Lord Yingcheng called him a nouveau riche. The emperor's beard stopped mid-stroke. When you have fulfilled your ritual obligations to all your concubines, every single missed one, your confinement will end. Translation: go home. Start working. Lord Yingcheng turned pale. 20 per day? Daily rituals must still be observed. Lord Yingcheng nearly fainted. Then, in a sudden burst of enthusiasm, he shouted, Your Majesty's punishment is just. I humbly request a nanny to supervise. The emperor stared. Granted. If history would paint him as petty, he might as well maximize efficiency. The court historian's brush moved like lightning. Meanwhile, Huang Yang suddenly stepped forward and began impeaching half the capital. 7, 8 officials. Punishments fell like rain. Lord Yingcheng understood. Too late. This wasn't random. The emperor was stirring the pot on purpose. The censors panicked. Wait, is the Ministry of Personnel stealing our job? 3 of them leapt up at once and began impeaching others aggressively just to reassert dominance. One even scolded the emperor. Your Majesty should not joke about officials' wives. What if someone offered their wife to you? Chaos. The emperor ended court early. Later, Huang Yang confronted his wife. I know everything. She blinked calmly. You want a divorce? He collapsed emotionally. No, I can't lose Zhen Ai or Lian Lian. Those are all me. Yes, let's keep it that way. I'll keep preparing 4 gifts every holiday. She stared at him. So as long as I laugh to your face? Exactly. Elsewhere, carriages clogged the streets. Every official had the same brilliant idea. Send Shu Yanmiao gifts. Cured meat, ham, more cured meat. Even the crown prince was stuck in traffic. The next day, Shu walked into court thinking, why does everyone smell like smoked pork? Ministers looked away awkwardly. They had sent hundreds of pounds, collectively. Meanwhile, news broke. The Prince of Jibei had rebelled. 2 hours later? 2 hours, Shu blinked. Even pigs last longer than this. Apparently, the prince had been commanding battle through a telescope. Tell the 5th musketeer from the left in the 3rd row to raise his rifle by 1 inch. By the time the messenger arrived, the battlefield had changed. Collapse was inevitable. When he was dragged into court, he still lifted his chin proudly. I have the aura of an emperor. The emperor clapped. A Taoist priest was dragged in. You told him that? The priest bowed instantly. I just wanted a meal, Your Majesty. I didn't expect him to believe it for 30 years. The court erupted in laughter. The Prince of Jibei turned crimson. Shu's thoughts floated lazily. If you're going to rebel, at least be competent. 30 years of planning, and this is the result? The emperor sat back. Sometimes rebellions are terrifying. Sometimes they collapse because the leader thinks a telescope equals strategy. And sometimes the greatest weapon in court is simply letting Xu Yamiao think. The old emperor didn't coldly sneer. He didn't smirk. He laughed. A full-bodied, table-slapping, tear-forming laugh. Prince of Jibei, he wheezed, clutching his stomach. It's been so long since I've laughed this hard. The Jinyue loosened their grip. The Prince of Jibei exploded. Gao Jianyi, what are you laughing at? Ha! You, someone with your intellect, thought you could rebel. Ha! At this point, the emperor wasn't even angry anymore. He was entertained. When I first heard of your rebellion, he continued between gasps, I stayed awake 3 days trying to figure out where you found the confidence. Gao Jianyi, a gentleman may die, but must not be humiliated. Laugh again if you dare. Ha ha! He dared. The prince tried to glare icily. You tyrant, do you know how many officials defected to me over 30 years? He looked smug. The emperor casually replied, You mean the assessor who ignored your overtaxation? The surveillance commissioner you exchanged concubines with? Or perhaps... How do you know? The emperor pulled out a thick yellowed notebook and tapped it lazily. Ledger. Very organized. Found it in your son's residence. Silence. My son? Yes, he tried sending it back to you. Couldn't bear to part with his leverage. Very sentimental. If the prince's heir had been present, he'd have been slapped into next week. The emperor leaned forward almost kindly. Do you know what your son did with the gold meant for bribing officials? I don't want to know. He spent it promoting his favorite courtesan to top courtesan, threw money like a benevolent prince of romance. The prince's breathing became concerning. The emperor sighed sympathetically. I understand. Who doesn't have a troublesome son? The crown prince nodded very seriously. The emperor continued smoothly. Unlike you, my crown prince, while not perfect. The crown prince blinked. For 30 years, the emperor said thoughtfully, you've been obsessing over him. You probably know his brilliance better than I do. The prince raised a trembling finger. He coughed, then coughed again, then dramatically coughed blood onto the floor. The emperor leaned back calmly. Escort him to prison, call a physician. No need to deny him courtesy before the execution. A pause. As for the heir, spare him. The prince looked up, gratitude flashing, until the emperor added, almost absent-mindedly, send the heir to Nanfang Pavilion. Inform the courtesan that I always keep my word. Gratitude died instantly. Elsewhere, at Prince Jin's residence, he was playing the chin when he overheard. Prince of Jibei rebelled, captured. His fingers slipped, discordant twang, and the heir was sent to Nanfang Pavilion. He glanced at his pregnant wife's belly. Thank goodness. What? Nothing. I mean, fortunate we're uninvolved. She smiled warmly. Indeed, your prudence saved us. His gaze flickered. Prudence, right. Back in the capital, Marquis Yongchang returned victorious. Carts of gold and silver ore behind him. The Minister of Revenue practically held his horse's reins like a fanboy. At the victory banquet, Yongchang rode his horse straight into the hall. Impeachments flew instantly. The emperor smiled. He is drunk. Don't take it seriously. Then Yongchang walked up and punched Prime Minister Du in the eye. Hard. How dare you sit ahead of me when you're so useless? Chaos. A guard dumped a teapot over his head. He blinked, sober, immediately dropped to his knees. Your Majesty, I know my wrongdoing. The emperor smiled serenely. It's a celebration. You're pardoned. Then, pleasantly, I hear you have 80 adopted sons. Let them enter as well. Yongchang beamed. 80 towering men filled the hall. The emperor personally asked each name. Warm, approachable, memorizing. Somewhere nearby, someone was absolutely adding those names to a very particular folding screen. And just like that, a rebellion ended in 2 hours. A prince coughed blood from humiliation. An heir got reassigned to romance duty. And a victorious general punched a prime minister before learning that the emperor never forgets a single name. In Great Xia, apparently the most dangerous weapon wasn't an army. It was a notebook.